talking.
Together, we are Jalen Jacoby. What is it that we do,
We
Mr.
get the
Rose?
people what they want.
The Cleveland Cavaliers were about to earn their 9th straight win in a row when they were playing the Miami Heat. LeBron James went to the basket. Here he is to his left. Got a little bump, nothing crazy, and then he got mad. He goes over to the official. He's cursing. The official didn't want to hear it and threw LeBron James out of the game. Bit controversial. Some people think it was a bit quick that he was thrown out. Do you think LeBron James is treated fairly by the referees?
All superstar players are treated fairly by the officials because in basketball, especially the NBA, there are different phases of who gets the call when.
Okay.
There are rookie calls, there are veteran calls, there are calls in the beginning of the game, there are fourth quarter calls, there are reach-ins, there are over the back. There are so many judgment calls. Block charge comes to mind. So based on that, when you have won as many MVPs and championships as LeBron James and accomplished so much in the league and become an iconic figure, of course you get preferential treatment from the officials, and rightfully so.
So he is, as you can see on the screen, he's averaging a career low of 5.4 free throws a game, even though he is scoring around the bucket at his normal tick. And another thing is this, I think he's kind of getting Shaquille'd. Like, he's just so strong that the contact doesn't feel like contact, and he's so good at re-squaring his shoulders to the basket after taking the contact that the referee kind of feels like, oh, you should have made that shot anyway. Like, I actually feel like he should get more calls than he does, even though he's a superstar. Do you agree with that?
He doesn't do a lot of flopping. He doesn't do a lot of flailing.
Anymore. He used to flop. He used to flop.
Which is something that the officials sometimes fall for. But the reason why he doesn't get the calls based on you just giving his average free throw numbers being the lowest of his career, because he out there bullying.
Mm-hmm.
And when you going through players on the post and on drives, and then you still finish it or you dunk over the top, there's no need to call a foul.
That's kind of how I feel it's happening. Like, I think he gets fouled a lot and doesn't get called because he's just like, the contact doesn't really dissuade him from what he was trying to do in the first place. The ref just sees him doing whatever he wants. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to give him another point for this take because he just got a layup off of this and there's 2 players on the ground from the opposing team.
That's the game within the game. How many times where he's going to do a reach-in and the 9th man is going to do a reach-in simultaneously, the other guy's going to get the foul called on him. That's just how it works in the game.
You know,
and when you're a superstar like LeBron James, when it's time for him to get the calls, guess what's going to happen? He will be going to the line.
Well, he did get kicked out. And remember he said that Enes Kanter always has something to say? You wouldn't believe this, but he got kicked out, and Enes Kanter had something to say. He fired up his Twitter fingers, put this out into the world, where he called the referee, Kane Fitzgerald, the king of Cleveland, his favorite playground. I always say you can be mean if you're funny. Is this mean? Is this funny? I also always say this, you want to beef up. Do you support Enes Kanter beefing up at LeBron James?
I do, because here's what has happened. Enes Kanter understands that you don't have to throw a punch or take a punch to make fans feel like you're about that life. And playing in New York City is just like playing in Detroit and a lot of other towns. We want a physically tough team that just so happens to be really good.
I'm glad you brought that up.
And so for Kanter, if he becomes the face of a team that will not back down, that will be physical, that will talk trash, he doesn't have to put in the physical work of a Charles Oakley for people to retire him immortally as that guy that went at the opposing players consistently.
Especially when it's LeBron James. Well, he also said this about going at opposing players. Here's what he told ESPN's Ian Bagley, quote, I'm not going to tell who, but I told somebody, hey man, go out there and fight with somebody. It will get the energy up. No, I'm serious. If you go out there and you just hit somebody or fight with somebody, just get a technical foul, I will pay the fine. I don't care. Just go out there, do your thing, because we need that energy. We need that fight. It doesn't matter if we're down by 25. A fight, get a technical foul, the crowd is in it, and they're going to get nervous. Jalen, I have a lot of questions about this, but first of all, is this something that NBA players do? Premeditated, technicals or hold me back moments to sort of juice up the home crowd?
The answer to that question directly is yes. But I want to peel back the onion a little bit more and talk about leadership.
Okay.
Because you don't have to tell me to go out and fight.
Thank you.
And you'll pay my fine. You go right ahead.
That's what I was wondering the whole time. I was like, was he at the end of the bench? Was he hurt? Was he in a suit? Was he allowed to play? Because this reminds me of something that you do sometimes. You do this, and you're guilty of this sometimes too. You know what you should do, Jacoby? Do you know what email you should write, Jacoby? And that's what I feel like Ennis Cantor was doing. You know what I mean? He was just like, James, like, do you know what we need right now? We need you to go out there and start a fight with Willie Reed. It's like, I don't want to start a fight with Willie Reed.
I'll pay the fine.
Yeah,
how about you pay your own fine?
Yeah, exactly. How about you go out there, you start a fight with Willie Reed, you pay your own fine, and you be that leader. I'm so glad you brought this up, Jalen, because that's exactly what I thought. That was my second question on this. Is like, how come he's telling someone else to do this? And that's exactly where you went first. I love doing this show with you, Jalen.
And supporters of Jalen and Jacoby understand a few things that we've pitched to the commissioner, Adam Silver. A couple of these things are going to happen. Now, I don't think LeBron's going to get a chance to wear a do-rag during an NBA game.
Nah, that one might be a little far-fetched.
But 1 through 16 seeding
it's gonna happen.
in the playoffs.
It's going to happen. We all know it's going to happen.
And here's the other thing for the great commissioner of the NBA.
Mr. Silver?
When a player or coach or an organization is fined, that money should stay in that local community that supports that team. It should not just go to a big pool of money that gets distributed. The NBA does a terrific job, probably the best of any league internationally, of giving back to communities.
Yep.
I see no problem with giving back to the 30 cities, towns, communities that support the teams all of the fine money at the end of each season.
I completely agree, and something tells me that that is going to happen. When we come back, the NFL is looking to put $100 million back into certain communities, but it's a little fishy. We'll explain after this. Kimbo Slice, you're familiar with his work, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk crazy about him.
Ken Shamrock, you're familiar. You know Ken Shamrock?
I do.
They were scheduled to fight each other, and not one, but both of them failed the drug test. Okay, so isn't that fair?
Yeah, so just, right.
Yeah, it's only if one of them fails, I understand why we don't continue with this fight. But if you both failed,
why is it a delay? Let the fight begin.
That can only help with the, the
right.
subscriptions.
Correct.
Got to give the people